Right, Fambulem. Right, Fambulem. Okay. Always there's one or two issues, but notwithstanding, all said and done, we are live and direct to Fambulem. A warm greetings to everybody. One that we don't tune in, we ask for level share, and the one that we subsequently get for tuning. We want to say warmest of greetings from the Then and Now Media Empire platform. Subsequently, we are getting to where we aspire for be through working with the community with speed and care, with imagination for make the difference. The national conversation continue, and on this platform, they speak with authority because it's based on objectivity. So on this particular day, the 25th of August, 2021, me now a host and presenter, Prince Emil Kuma, they come to Una today. And we expect we guest, we not get him on yet. Of course, he's a very busy man. Everybody get them, sort of ongoing stuff. So, but we hope for get him anyway at some point. But we are yet to get the all green as at now. But Fambulem, we want to talk about many things as soon as I can see on the flyer way we disseminate earlier on before the program. This is about 72 hours ago, 96 hours ago. Many things. A center around the state of the country. B, the political party called All People's Congress, where they in opposition, the largest opposition, if you will like. C, the state of affairs of the economy. D, the road to the convention, usai the party in proposed constitution is expected to be adopted. Waiting day inside that constitution day, way different from the last. How is it going to be interpreted? Also, we want to talk briefly about the ruling of Justice Adrian Fisher. This is why most of what we want to talk about a border on legality. That's why we took upon ourselves for bring somebody who is of a legal mind, a veteran lawyer. We understand, if not all, but most 90% plus of what we want to talk about because he's been there. He's served in various jurisdictions and in many capacity, either as an independent lawyer. They serve, some public cause, sometimes pro bono, which is free, and sometimes just out of the professional thing way in profession call for. And this we guess today. Hopefully we go shortly get them, and then we go rest the introduction we done the gi. But because there are so many talking points for that we make, so we never short of ideas. And this is one thing before we bring we guest come on, because there's so much for that we talk about. It's a 1-hour program. I want to talk about President Julius Maada Bio in recent trip outside of the country and back in the country. Okay, I think our guest is here. I want to talk about briefly. I mean, it's so shameful, and I must use this platform for say that. Yeah, I'll be with you in a minute, sir. I mean, just to develop some topic, and many thanks. It's so shameful that grown-up people, elected, appointed officials of government meant to serve the people and the republic, go line up and they sing a kindergarten sing, where them picking them for they sing to them for they tell them thank you. Now we government official and they do. That's one of the most disgraceful things that I've ever seen, and I can't contain me anger that I get for say I'm right on this platform. Another thing I also observe is the protocol, how protocol is being mismanaged or deliberately twisted. How come the president whom we elect come up from a public visit, we turn later to a private visit, however he return home, and not to in the lead the delegation to be greeted by the officials they are find really pathetic, but rather the first lady 9 days before the president, the woman where we not elect, and the man where we elect they be in. But we go leave this for another day. Ladies and gentlemen, we promise to say we want to talk on many things then which are very legal, and because of that we want to get a legal mind, and we promise to say we go bring somebody of that legal mind there. And today now the Then and Now platform we get none other than the veteran lawyer Abu Bakarr Kalokoh. Lawyer Kalokoh, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, Prince. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And I want to say thank you again extra, and you look very well. And I hope family and everybody is doing well, sir.
We are, and I hope that they do well from my own end too.
Yes, we are, sir. Thank you very much. Now, Lawyer Kalokoh, let's just go straight into this line, not belabor you and waste your time. There are many other things for do. But I don't want to insinuate. I don't want to procrastinate. I don't want to opine. I just want to ask you, what do you think about the state of your country today? And optimism, skepticism going forward. What's your take, sir? What's your perspective?
Principal, thank you first of all for bringing me back. We tell God thank you. Obviously, the answer to that question, the family already now, most of them already sabi the answer to that question. The country, they do very well. Number one, we get a very serious public health catastrophe. Yes, affect only Sierra Leone, affect all countries around the world. Doesn't look like we do the best job in trying to handle the corona thing, and by God's own mercy, it's not impacting us as badly as we've been thinking. But of course, everybody back home see what's in they go on. Our economy is in shambles. The country is not doing very well. The cohesion, the unity, we've been enjoying over the past 11 years, it don't look like we have all the things what we're supposed to get for bring everybody together. Now the country is more divided and polarized than it been before, which is very sad. At this point in time, I would expect, the current administration go pick up from Usai President Nkrumah left off and try for bring and unify the country much more than Usai we did. Unfortunately, it's not happening. Bread and butter issues are very serious problems. We all see what they happen now. Bag of rice, which it been cost a few years, which it cost now. For less somebody able afford a simple meal now, it's 10 times more difficult than it was 3 years ago. So, overall, we're not doing well.
Many thanks for that general assessment. I think it does speak to the facts on the ground, but we'll leave that, here to the public opinion. On that same basis, Lawyer Kalokoh, I want to ask you about the state of your party, and the same question again. No one insinuate or say anything or opine. What do you think about the state of the All People's Congress as we speak now and going into the future, sir?
If you asked me the same question a few months ago, Prince, I'd before say, it rather disappointing that we party not the go na the direction we be expecting it go, which is bringing all parties together so we will be a unified force approaching 2023. Fortunately, we see signs of hope. We see people coming together, us all comrades collaborating, and for the very first time, unleashing something that we party way unprecedented, democratizing the party, rank and file members of the APC getting a voice in the management and stewardship of their own party. So that make me very optimistic, very happy as to the direction with the All People's Congress they go now.
So let me deal with this into you will. And also I want to begin from, of course, you just express, some deep sort of optimism in terms of root analysis, looking at where you were and where we are and where we are heading. So here is the question, sir. The fact that a court had to dictate on the direction where the party for go. I don't know, you might have a different assessment, a different take on this, but the fact that a court get for decide, does that bode well with you?
It does not. It does not. As you rightfully know, Prince, we are Africans. I mean, a lot of things that they will do, would they try for do and by consultation until ultimately we reach some form of consensus. We will talk about we problems and resolve them in the most amicable way it should be. Unfortunately, over the past 3 years, I could say it's not been that way. We party not to go in the direction where we expect say it go. Obviously, you know, we did not want for let we end up na a court for able resolve the problems and issues we'll get inside we party, you know. But unfortunately, it don't happen this way. It should not have been this way. One of the things we all sabi as Africans is we, you know, always try to avoid or let we go wash with dirty in the public. You know, we have already done that, which is very unfortunate. It's not the APC way. But you know, lessons learned. For me, I take this as a teachable moment for the up and coming leadership of the party for understanding we are all comrades, we're all brothers and sisters. Next time, let we find way, create a platform, just put the apparatus together so that we all were able to sit down together as a family for able to talk about the problems, you know, candidly, anyway, candidly and in a very honest manner. But, you know, in this specific situation, I felt like, you know, all options, it looked like the one that we challenged the particular and going to court feel left out and they had minimal options left. They had to go to court. So, you know, we are where we are now and I'm glad the USA would go.
Well, many thanks, Lawyer Kalokoh. Before I go deep down into the legal side, I really want to talk about legality tonight. And but just before I go there, I want to ask you one question on top of this, based on which I just asked you, which is like double down. So the dirty linen ended up being washed in the public, and then somebody else, you know, outside of the party circle being for decide. Of course, you've stated that you're not satisfied with that, but this is what you've got because of washing your dirty linen in the public. So the very public, including some of your party members, then all deep skepticism as opposed to this judgment way come out that it will be tailored by the same people that will tailor this first material way they work. So now, how confident or whose assurance where you can provide for this general public way hold this kind of thought process? Say in the end, na tentative solution na in den give una so una end up get for come again because una they go try if it work or not work una still get for come back and can report say well we don't move forward and the same person get for design the next step forward. Will that be a fair characterization and will that go down well with you if it turn out to be that way?
No, I mean, you know, go down well with me that we ended up here, and but you know, as I said before, it is what it is, and I totally understand the skeptics that the party we feel say, listen, this is just deja vu. It's just going to be the very same thing what been done. They happen at the party all along. A few people controlling things and bringing us, trying to manipulate the process, bringing us back to Usai Ubinde. And USA will know one for this. Listen, you know, I understand and I respect the views of those skeptics and get a reason for being skeptical. But also, I want to let them understand one thing, like how Americans, like you say, don't look at the glass as half empty, look at it as half full. We'll not get exactly everything we ask for, but, you know, we're getting something that looks like democratic dispensation. And I guess, for be honest, now, so democracy is not an easy thing. And we therefore be willing for make a few mistakes until we get a process where it will be more fair, much easier, and more credible down the road. Of course, you know, as I don't hear over the past week or so, the process get glitches as it should be. Anything where community or country or group or association or political party they try for very first time, you can forget glitches and challenges. But obviously, in a scenario like this one, so the one day when skeptics will not to trust the process, I also glad they say at least a third party day will appear for be pretty neutral, where they superintend the process, where everybody careful go back to, so they look at it, so make sure see all shades of opinion they're reflected and all concerns and issues addressed. So I feel like we should give the process a chance.
So let's get down to the Constitution, Lawyer Kalokoh. I'm not sure whether you've seen, read, familiarize yourself with the Constitution, because it's pretty new and just begin circulation around, maybe prospective bigwigs or concerned people around the party structure. But there's a school of thought out there, sir, where thinks a believes that your footprint there all over, if not all over, to some degree, some respect, your footprint there in the configuration, in the constitution of this new constitution. Would you want to speak to that, Lawyer Kalokoh? Is it very personal, sir?
Well, yes. Yes, me footprint there all over the new constitution. And when we started this constitution, we divided it up, and I go say the aspect of the constitution we deal with discipline was actually written by me, as a first draft, and of course we had an opportunity for let the entire committee look into them. We obviously not able for craft a perfect constitution, but we tried to address most of the major concerns where a lot of skeptics can get. Number one, this idea of having people representing the party at very high levels who were not actually elected by the rank and file membership of the party. Remember the one way the grassroots, all members of the party now they own the. So if I for where we get leadership, let be say that the people they wouldn't pick. And one of the reasons we make a pick the issue of discipline at the party. Now, one of the thorny areas of the APC where most people don't like about the APC. So if you criticize the party, they find a way for say would they expel you, and of course you sabi the famous anti-party activities. And that's why I decided, well, you know what, I'm going to deal with this aspect of it. And overall, my guiding principle was actually to make it extremely difficult for one person or a small set of people able unilaterally make a decision for suspend or expel somebody from the APC without going through what we call due process. And a big part into fumble the way they out there. Me, a lawyer, a person will not believe in drastic action against somebody for something we elect without due process. They don't give you a chance for let you defend yourself. So all of them things, and then we try for address them. We try for address membership of NAC. We try for address issues of choosing people that we go be executive members from the ward level all the way up. So we try to make it as fair as possible.
Many thanks, Lawyer Kalokoh. And we go come back to some side who say you don't admit say your footprint largely way I believe in chapter 6 of this new constitution to yet be adopted, which deals with discipline and grievance, and I think again about 6 articles with very interesting, sir, like how do you call it, general provision, jurisdiction of disciplinary committees, function of disciplinary committees, causes for discipline, sanctions, appeals, and timing. Very critical. But before we come back to that, Fambulela, I'll just remind you now, tonight we have none other than the veteran lawyer. I mean, this man been around for like ages, and I will get on the platform today for do some clarifications for we on the basis of legal opinion, things the way we don't understand from a legal standpoint of view. And largely weighing in this conversation tonight is the yet to be adopted APC constitution, where they're supposed to take to the convention. Lawyer Kalokoh, this is my next question to you, sir, and this borders on the expectations of people that when negotiate with the party, we sort of been asked for reform, and rightfully so, that the party should reform. It was a long-drawn battle, but in the end, reasons prevail because una sit down at table and una talk. But one of the things then what I believe say una sit down at table for talk about, we center around reformation. Now, the watering down of powers belonging to individuals or a certain sect or group, if you like. How much of this constitution scatter that kind of power the way particular people, or just a small tiny group of people hold, we're able for influence situation? If we look at the presidential candidate clause under this constitution, it doesn't look like much of this was achieved, sir.
Yes. Well, thank you, Prince. Obviously, in negotiating and crafting all the articles of this new constitution, there was a lot of things where we get for look at. Some of them we want for accomplish them and make them waiting we be want for make them, but at the same time we understand say there are competing interests in this whole scenario. We looked at the issue of the presidential candidates. Of course, we know say we want to let the presidential candidate be elected by delegates at the National Delegates Conference. Also the issue of the presidential candidate being able for find somebody we go be running mate for him. Well, now, listen, a lot of people, get the idea, say, well, if we get the presidential candidate, if I'm for low give him a free hand, for letting pick the person where he go want for let he be running mate for him. But think about this though. Suppose we also want for avoid a scenario where the presidential candidate either go be pressured or go be susceptible to corruption, such that the political party go put itself in a position where go depend only on a decision where the presidential candidate in one grain go make. Some people then say, well, no, left hand to the presidential candidate, let pick your running mate. Others then say, well, suppose he choose the wrong person because something cross under the table and that person they don't really able to bring nothing for the party. So we need for then at the middle where the presidential candidate go say, I elect this person, or this is a pool of people who I want, and some kind of consultation with the leadership of the party, so then go able for guide them, so in choice go reflect what the party wants. So those are the types of things we be they look at.
So, Lawyer Kalokoh, on that basis, we understand, say, the second chain in terms of apportioning, some kind of or delegating powers to whoever that be, it stems from the two giants, them, which is A, the chairperson, and then B, it turns out for be NAC. But what is the process of selecting, or electing these NAC members? Now, who are they actually kind of elect them? And they're responsible for take care of every other organs apart from the chair, which means that the chair still weigh a lot of influence.
Yes. The chairman of the party, obviously, going forward, will still wield a lot of influence at the party, but it's not a lot as much influence as a lot of people then they say. I don't hear you over the past few weeks, people then they say, well, the chairman of the party will get a lot of influence, but listen, it's not anywhere close to within the current chairman and leader, the powers with the current chairman and leader gets. I mean, we thought about this idea of having the current chairman nominate people so that they will be members of NAC. Well, we didn't think that was a good idea because it will bring, we come back to USA been there before. So what thing we decide to listen. Number one, the chairman in self needs to be elected. Number one. Number two, every other person way for Dana the NAC, it need for be elected one way or the other. So listen, if we say district chairman, regional chairman, those people get for being members of NAC, and other people that we hold elected positions be members of NAC. The chairman not go get much influence over them because not to in they select them for let them sit down at the NAC. Why are we doing that? The principle behind that whole thing, they now for let we avoid scenarios where the chairman will so much influence on members of NAC. Why? Because he able bring them come inside NAC, he able remove them from NAC. We want members of NAC for let them get a reasonable degree of independence because the membership of NAC not depend on the whims and caprices of the chairman. So the chairman really not get as much power as well, the new chairman where they can not go get as much power as the current chairman.
Okay, just for continue on the issue of membership, the secretary to the 21-man committee, where we will talk about briefly, Mr. Mohammed Sheridan Kamara, who is also a lawyer just like you, sir, he weighed in on this membership issue, and this issue of membership is causing, some kind of a friction between both party members and just general interpretation out there. I wonder whether you can weigh in on the issue of membership. In other words, one of the debates that is raging now on social media, because that's where information is being peddled, that's where opinions have been formed, whether righteously or unrighteously, is that of membership of the party. Assumably, typical example, somebody lost in card, the party not able to come up with something for proof, say, this person a membership, but they say somebody can vouch for them. But they also understand, say, this person for be a fully paid up member. How does all of this determine? Not today foul play go come out, yuki go come out because somebody now can come out and vouch because the constitution or some caveat around what you in a form say, if you're a person of reputable standing, i.e., a member of parliament, then you can vouch for this person. How independent this process will be, Lawyer Kalokoh?
It's a very difficult process. I get to, we take a long time debating the issue of membership, and now another very difficult area that one day, because so one of the things where we're very heavily in our minds that the type of society where would they try for craft a constitution for. We're trying to write down rules and regulations where they govern a political party. We get a lot of members we not actually literate, and process and protocols are not strictly followed. Well, from the history, I don't know. Now, one of the things we really struggle with, because even when we discuss the issue of membership in the committee, very important question where somebody asked, so well, we're not a member of the APC. Well, as you know, the general answer will be anybody. Of course, somebody answered the question, well, it can be anybody. That's very true. It can be anybody. The second question we follow from that, well, how we determine who done a member of the party, who done not a member of the party? Again, that now one thing, now one question we'll struggle with a lot. We work based on what exists now, but then we try to make it better for the future. So some people then they will say, we for require, say, every member of the party for get a card. Well, other people na the committee, they say, well, now all members within the APC na get card. The answer is no. Some then say paid up members. Well, we not able to foresee audited accounts of the party or database of members of the party where we go say, they were not paid up members, they were not paid up members. So, everything seemed to be in a flux. Now, very difficult situation. Now, then three situations there, so now then face we. So the question will be get for answer. Suppose somebody come and say, me a member of the party.
Yep.
Accommodate that person there, and a person, oh, they sell na abacha. They don't sabi anything about card. They say they get the card. Okay, well, I don't lost the card, but me a member of the party. We go say, not a member of the party, power, you forget card. Other people then say, well, no, in extreme, we get for also accommodate extreme situations. We expect everybody to get a card. Best case scenario, everybody gets a card, everybody na fully paid up member, and the office of the party gets database where able to reflect that information. Do we have that? The answer is no. As we speak now, we don't have that. So how about scenario number two? At least we expect everybody with the card where they say in a member forget card. Right? Now, all members of the APC, when a member of the party, then get card, maybe 50% not get cards. Well, the one that we get card, then go bring the card. How about the one that we not get card? If you come and say, me a member, and reputable, everybody sabi and for be member of the party, but you not get card. Perhaps he give money for letting issue the card to them. As you know, I'm not accusing anyone, but then sometimes you give money, the money somehow disappear. You know, make the person they claim say in don't pay, but then they not issue card to them. It happens all over the place. So now it make we decide say, all right, well, we get for accommodate them people then they too, because we can't leave other people behind. So if somebody when a reputable person at the party, sabi this person for be somebody will hold himself out there as a member of the APC, that member they for be accommodated. It's a very difficult compromise, unfortunately.
Yes, but I want to ask you one critical question on this basis here, and just a short answer, sir, if you will, because I can understand how critical it was for left somebody who probably, like the example where you actually pay and sincere, you know, you're a party member. But in the bigger scheme of things, looking at current situation, which the party don't go through within the last 1 year or two, if not more, where there is a possibility of somebody else where they claim membership and this person turn out not for be a genuine party member, and it turn out for be say because of this clause we will not get or caveat around the rule, say if somebody of good reputable standing, but this person turn out not for, it sound almost conspiratorial, but it is real that it can happen. This person not get no good intention for the party or get is disgruntled somehow, but they in a position for vouch for somebody, and that person they able for make it a claim against the party, such as waiting happen within the Alfred Conte camp and others, we genuinely then get a complaint, but on a grudgingly basis, because any members are understand can raise a complaint against the party, and based on the merit of the claim, it can be heard in a court of law. Do you not think say the party will suffer some dire consequence as a consequence of the agreement we will not reach so for be open and try for be fair and honest?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
That possibility we will actually look at. It's a very real thing, but I think we ultimately reach the conclusion, say the party get for really try for act, the leadership get for act in a pretty robust way for police the process for let we able to avoid situations like that.
Okay. Many thanks, Lawyer Kalokoh. Ladies and gentlemen, we are having a very pertinent discussion with germane to national conversation that we are having in the country. Remember, this is a formative process of taking the country before, because there are many challenges, let's face it, on every front, political, social, and economic in our country. And today we are having none other but Lawyer Abu Bakarr Kalokoh, a very experienced, in fact, a veteran lawyer who has been there in many capacities, serving individuals as well as institutions and organizations, if you will like. Lawyer Kalokoh, before I move on to the next set of questions for you, on this issue of membership, one other thing where they trended na media, within party circles, within social media in general, is that of the former Vice President of the Republic. I know 1 or 2 shows that you've appeared on the platform. We've talked about that before, the constitutionality or unconstitutionality, if you like. But today, I want to come in a different direction, although it gets a tinge of that same constitutional application some years ago. Membership as defined by this new constitution, and owing to waiting with the understand, the man left in party and come, and now with the understand says a member of the party, but there's many confusion to those of us who are on the outside. We not understand what is working on the inside. But if the man may not be a vice president before, and when he come back now the party, there's this general assumption, say, he not come back or can be vice president, or at least he will take a vice president, but nothing lesser. In terms of this new constitution, from the way how some of us they understand them, who not get that legal mind, is you get for be a party faithful and for don't serve and pay up 5 years of due. Now, technically, the former vice president has only just returned to the party and not seem forfeit that building. Owing to waiting to happen, you will not see some kind of challenges and contradictions going forward where finally una go to una convention, sir?
I do, and that's a very tricky issue where you raise. Suffice it to say, you know, at this point, I don't want for prejudge the issue, and I really don't want for be make any comments touching and concerning the former vice president and the membership status of the party. My understanding is that he did not write a letter to NAC for let he continue or he come back as a member of the APC. I have my own personal opinions, but at the same time, I also want for let the process play out. Give chance for the request where it can with the able look into that request judiciously at the appropriate time. I think the constitution will address other issues as to whether he is or is not eligible for become or for take certain positions at the party. That's a different thing. The constitution will address the issue then day, but at this point I know I'm for prejudge that issue there.
Many thanks, Lawyer Kalokoh. And Family and on allow help for shape this video. And I'm just for acknowledge few people in the chat room. Sister Fatima Thomas Banks, Alimami Kagbo, Alimami Sise are all watching with us. Of course, another senior anchor on the platform, Mohammed Supermed Kamara, Abdul King, Jiba Sise, Usman Conte, Aaron Rashid Samora, Yusuf Fofana. We could go on and on. Samuel Max Gigba, Jeremiah Sembe, and Focus Diaspora, all welcome to the program. Please there we shape. So we go help forget other people for can hear themselves. Lawyer Kalokoh, I want to go to the issue of the national leader, and that will be somewhere around Article 53 of the party in Constitution, which says the person elected by the National Delegates Conference as the party's presidential candidate, flag bearer shall be its national leader and shall maintain such position if he is elected president of Sierra Leone. They are explained that to you because there's some confusion in we minds. That's why I mean some confusion in we minds. We're not understanding things in the because owing to the national conversation, what's the difference here that the person elected by the National Delegate Conference, presidential candidate, flag bearer shall be its national leader, and if that person they go on for be elected president of Sierra Leone, that person shall relinquish such position if not elected in accordance, of course, with another Article 19. And this is not the confusion about law. You keep making reference. Can you go back? When you come back, if you don't get patience, you get lost. Luckily, we get you here for broke that down for us, sir.
Yes, essentially, Famule, now, what would they try for do? One of the conversations we will get, who the negotiate or try for draft this constitution, the position of chairman and leader, as Boku of know, now we get now na APC. And that don't cause a lot of confusion over the past few years. A lot of people they hold the opinion say those are two positions. Some other people they say no, that's one position. The chairman now for be the leader of the party. All right, but I think we in talking or discussing this issue decide say what in. I think it will be better for the party if we get somebody who will be an administrative head of the party and a political head of the party. Then we separate them 2 years. So why? Because when somebody don't inside the politics, like the flag bearer of the party, a lot of times waiting they suffer administratively looking after the party interests. So the person will don't be the leader of the party. He get two positions, and I agree. But then once he don't become president or he don't become flag bearer, what they happen. The routine issues where they affect the party, we need general management. We need the attention of the chairman and leader, because the chairman and leader, perhaps through no fault of his own, because he's extremely busy, he's not able to give the time for address very, very pertinent and key issues about managing the party on a day-to-day basis. So we feel like being chairman of the party should be a full-time day job. So that's why we divided those, because we look and say the party really they suffer. There seems to be a leadership gap. Not leadership gap, not span the politics, but leadership gap, because listen, the party get for paying bills, the party get for address issues of discipline, the party get for address. So those are all important. Now it make we say elect a chairman, and then somebody becomes a flag bearer of the party, let him be the leader of the party. What does that mean? When that person they becomes elected flag bearer of the party, it becomes the political face of the party. Of course, we expect the political face of the party, what would they call leader, for let he always interface with the chairman, So at least he able for talk about the issues where the party interested in, and able for carry out or send a message out about the party and what the party stand for, kind of a spokesman for the party politically, whilst at the same time the chairman did for superintend, supervise, and manage internal affairs where they impact the party, so that make we divide them two positions and they, so that way we think say the party go able function in a more smooth way. It will be a functioning machine.
Lawyer Kalokoh, I can't say thank you very much for, breaking this down, to the minute level, because this is absolutely necessary, because we read the argument on social media, and I know certain things that are quite necessary, because most of we are kind of confused as to all this work we want to input into this constitution, what it really mean. And I hope say there will be a time when the constitution will be taken around, almost like a referendum, for let people understand and be educated as to what the lines in this new constitution mean and what are the benefits in terms of the nation and the people. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very decent conversation with none other than Lawyer Kalokoh this evening, and we will continue when we take this quick commercial break, if you no mind. We'll take a quick commercial break and we will come right back with Lawyer Abu Bakarr Kalokoh. Please follow. Yep. So like I say, we're having a quick commercial break and we will continue with the commercial break as we continue for talk to Lawyer Kalokoh. Just bear with me. Let's see exactly what's going on here. Let's see exactly what's going on here. Okay. Okay, like I say, we were having a quick commercial break. And obviously the commercial break supposed to take us into something else. Supposed to take us to something else, but we got Lawyer Kalokoh back, and we're really kind of thankful to Lawyer Kalokoh. Lawyer Kalokoh, I still want to go back to the Constitution, and I want to talk about all the work we don't input, because tonight is a matter of clarification, both politically, socially, and economically, and from a legal standpoint of view, which is why we've got you onto the platform here tonight. We want to look at the configuration of this 21-man committee we emanate from the Court of Justice Fisher. So inside this configuration is broken down in terms of numbers, membership numbers from the different people that we sit on at a table for negotiate. Out of these numbers, I believe the party, of course, the largest, carry 10 people, and I believe, say, another 3 they come out from diaspora, and it's a general given that the 3 where they come out diaspora go represent or go join the 10 already, which make them 13, sir. And 13 out of 21 means, say, he left 8. And out of that 8 is broken down into the big 6, is broken down into the NRM, and other people and then constitute that 8. Just imagine that's about 3 different factions who will get their own differences. The point I'm trying to bring home, Lawyer Kalokoh, is 13 already they seen at the same side and then stand by the largest. So in terms of going and making decision where they go finally sit down as they don't already begin, although there will be differences, but the number 13, if not number game will get for play, will weigh large, go able for muzzle and get waiting they want. I don't know waiting again was discussed on the inside, how they go make decision. Is it going to be based on numbers? And the point is, if it's based on numbers, then obviously the party structure will always prevail. What say you, sir?
Very interesting take. Yes, I get concerns also regarding numbers. I thought the same way for say, okay, well, perhaps we need for even out the number of people that we did na the party, so various factions were able nominate an equal number of people them so that everybody go get an equal voice. But you know, what I expect as members of the party is the ability for let we able work and reach consensus. The idea of people thinking this is just a numbers game and ultimately it will look like a zero-sum game where one group they get the edge over another group. Now one way a lot of people will raise this issue with me, I try for discourage and say, listen, no, look at that way. Let us try to work together. And if we work together, I think we all be able to see things the same way. And it looked like, so far so good, it looked like I've been correct in making that assumption that not look at the numbers when I try for work together, certain things and they will all not be able to agree on. When I try for work on waiting una agree on, una continue for discuss waiting una not agree on it until una able to reach some kind of consensus. And I think so far so good, that advice they don't hold true, and things seem to be moving on without much problems.
Okay, let me move away and let we talk a little bit of politics because we're coming gradually to the end of this program. So I want to talk a little bit about politics. Obviously, my first opening to you was the general state of the country and what's your take. And of course, you carefully construct the state of the country now. And looking at what you say, of course, is dismal. Is although you provide hope, but it's dismal. Here is the thing, Lawyer Kalokoh. We have a president who is one of the most traveled presidents in the world, even during COVID times. We see protocols upon protocols keep on being violated. And I think my opening just before you join was something which struck me so hard that I not be able to contain how flabbergasted I am that government officials, people elected, people appointed to do the business of government, go line up on either side for greet a returning president in something where I not ever see in my life, singing "Mama don't come, Papa don't come." How distasteful that could be. That's one. Secondly, I think protocol entails that the man where we elect, where they return back to a country, now the face of the face. But in this case, we see him back there behind and the first lady day before. Lawyer, what's your take on all of this? Is this just recklessness? Is it deliberate? What's going on, sir?
So, I mean, Prince, it's a very interesting question we asked me. Unfortunately, some people are going to like what I get for say, some are not going to like it.
Bring it on.
Listen, what you they see is not actually the problem itself. It's just evidence of the underlying decadence we don't engulf with society. So what has happened is there has been a deep-rooted culture or tradition of sycophants in our country. If I fault this president because a lot of ministers are line up the clap for him when he come back, I'm going to be unfair to him. I don't think it's the right thing to do. I think they have better things to do. Therefore, focus, put their attention for work for the country so all will benefit. Unfortunately, it's not something we just begin with this president. It's been this way for decades in Sierra Leone. No offense to most people, but a lot of people, as you notice, Prince, previous administrations, why then the Fed for let them be some kind of person na the administration? Now, because they want to continue for get influence or hold position where sometimes in the documentary they're not qualified for them. So how they go able for make let that happen? By being sycophants. This same kind of behavior where you see so, clap for the president, team up before the president see you. Even if you don't get the credentials for all a certain position, the president will say, well, this nine clap the best, I will get it. Oh man, it's not to the best way for law to choose leaders of a country we go able to deliver for. Not just the wrong method, you know. Unfortunately, these are the kind of thing where they happen in our country. It's been happening for years. But you know, the other thing about the picture, I did not see the picture myself, but I think somebody told me about this situation happening and the first lady the day before. You know, it comes up to the same thing. It's always been this way in our culture, and a thing we don't develop in our country over the past 10, 20 years, the first lady almost equal like the president. It's been happening all over the place. It's not the right thing. A lot of things that the first lady they say where they happen, now things where really it therefore come from official quarters. And why would they govern that way? They when something they were the president ain't supposed to address about that the first lady now they address them officially.
Absolutely.
I just don't know. Legal issues then the way you be know about in the hands of our girls and people then they would then they charge in a court for crimes, things that way don't happen. You see the first lady in self-serve now they address the issue then they talk about them, and somehow I'm sitting down thinking, okay, so where is the president and where is the judiciary? Why is the first lady talking about issues where they now call for let they adjudicate upon them? Okay, well maybe nobody know how to talk what the first lady talk. It's just sycophants.
Yeah, and the question will be, I mean, you put on succinctly, well, Lawyer Kalokoh. I do agree. It's not almost, it's a kind of culture. What is fearful about this is, it's a rapidly developing culture which seems to be screeching on the negative side of things, because it seems like forces are in competition for proof who is more negative than the other. Because yes, it did happen in the last administration, but we see the level they increase to another level, and probably the next administration or the same administration, whoever, might just increase the same negativity. How do we veer away from this causeway? It's dangerous, Lawyer Kalokoh. That means we're not making any gains. Any suggestion as to how we can veer away from there? Because from a legal perspective, sir, and this come back again to the issue. When we be small, we will do civics at least, or even in high school. We learn about the three arms of government, Lawyer Kalokoh, and how independent and co-equal they are. But of course, going into the years and years and years, we see the other two arms they diminish, while the other one is seen for the increase or incremental power. So much so that it don't become Lord God. Now, in they decide who can be and who can't be, make or break. That everybody, hence we see what we see before yonder, where people and they sing to the executive. How can we change this? Is there a possibility? Have we gone too far near the cliff that there's no return, or are we just going to somersault down the cliff?
I mean, there's hope for say we will reverse that trend. It's a very worrisome trend, of course. Me actually, generally, I look at a lot of things where they happen that we can't see. I really think, many times at the talk about they say, so a lot of people think being a lawyer is all about taking an exam and passing. No, it's way beyond that. It's about the ability for you to keep somebody in will, nobody not see. It's a matter of ethics. You get for respect the ethics which surround the office where you hold. So perhaps this look funny. The other day I've been say this to one of my friends. I say maybe we need to start teaching people how to be a minister or president. Perhaps a minister or president need for know the boundaries, the contours of the powers, the obligations and responsibilities where he gets. Maybe they misunderstand waiting actually the office required them for do. The powers where they get, the powers where they not get, who they're supposed for act, who they're not supposed for act. So if you notice, the line between waiting they happen now the presidency and the first lady, the line is becoming blurrier and blurrier and blurrier. But not that it is blurred, because who's I mean so as I be the lines, you only need for read the constitution, so you go know exactly who's one are the president in domain, who's one not to the president in domain. And I expect also the president, if understanding pretty well within in role and responsibilities as president, for able to put in foot down. Yeah. For no say, you are father of the nation, now you they hold the stewardship for the nation, for make sure say something when now you your domain, now you they handle them, not to the first lady. A lot of times you notice when the first lady talk, a lot of people now in country take and say now the power don't talk. And actually, it's not supposed to be that way. Well, it's sticking. And Prince, the only reason it's sticking, nobody know they for correct the first lady. Certain things and they way they do or say, nobody know they turn around and say, no, you're not supposed to cross that line there. I think we will begin for do that one day and remind people waiting actually at them powers and whose powers we do not get. And the final thing I get for say, you know, again, coming back to what I've been saying, the culture of sycophancy, Prince, Sierra Leone are one very interesting country who say somebody, they palpably, openly do the wrong thing, nobody challenges them.
In fact, then they praise you.
As a matter of fact, as opposed to saying this is wrong, first of all, saying it in private, now one, saying it in public, not as a matter of fact,
Kalokoh, this is brilliant. Again, you put them rightfully and you catch the moment. It is true. Nobody know able to tell the First Lady. I'll just run through this quickly. Of course, again, from the beginning of the program, your first opening was a dismal picture of the country economically that you so succinctly put, sir. And it is true. But again, the same culture what we talk about, culture of sycophancy, people are, in fact, they've been coined a phrase where they call suffer posh. Now they come from for understand them. There is a reality on the ground that it's just the reality. Prices of goods and services are going up. The value of the loans is losing. We suffer a depreciation, and the economy they contract because we know they make nothing, and then we get inflation. So all of this they help for make things difficult. This is not simple economics for those of us who not study economics at all. But we know that because we people are struggling. Like I asked for bag cement today, it's 120,000. The last time when the contractor sent me cement price, now be 80,000 or 85,000 a bag. Suddenly it's just skyrocketed, and it seems like there's no stop and everybody's grumbling. But within the same space, you got people where they defend this. This is what I can phantom lawyer Kalokoh, where they defend say, this and that, and people take you back to 11 years and one, discourage you. I don't understand. But economically speaking, we are able redomination, if I can come quickly to the point. What thing you take about this redomination from a legal point of view? Because I spoke to one or two legal luminaries were saying any alteration of the national currency, it required the law. In other words, you have to go to parliament. And in this case, it doesn't seem like the bank governor did. I don't know whether you don't look into this, and what's your take, sir?
I actually don't look inside the details of that specific topic there. Suffice it to say, my inkling seems to be that the act give sufficient powers to the board of the Bank of Sierra Leone for able to do things like that. But I totally understand the issue of redenomination. The reason this is actually a political tactic. So if you ask people the way that the government, they will tell you, say, the idea is for let we try for discourage hoarding of the national currency. So they're not going to take the national currency and just keep another. Also, if we suddenly change the currency, we redenominate and bring in a new currency, people then go run for bring the money, come back at the system. So here's the thing. The truth of the matter is, I always say, oh, you mean temporarily?
Exactly. Exactly.
As soon as you release the new one, they go
they hold them back and take them back. That's not the solution.
The actual measures, there was a time where I make a statement about the Bank of Sierra Leone and hoarding where they happen of the currency, because people then they use that money for let they able buy foreign exchange at the black market. That's what's happening. The truth of the matter is, people then they not government. I'm not particularly accusing the SLPP as a party itself. People then they not government when a part of this hoarding. Then they facilitate the hoarding and they know it. So really, that's not a solution to the problem. And also, perhaps one of the reasons we make this redenomination they happen is because the government realized hyperinflation they happen. So what is happening is it's becoming scarier and scarier for let somebody want for buy one bag cement, and you get a whole bunch of notes for let you go buy one bag cement. It don't mean much. So I think the bank governor, they feel bad for say the inflation, it don't become so weighty safe that for let you buy one grain tin, you get for full up money in a one full bag, for let you go buy small tin. So what would they do for let the people they don't feel say inflation they low redenominate the money, so that instead somebody hold 100,000 when a bundle, it go only hold now 5 notes when a 2020. So it will look like not so plenty money deposit hold. But listen, economically, that not address the issue of inflation. The issue of inflation is still there.
Exactly.
As long as we are not able to control the economy this way, the issue of inflation, why, of course, as you said, very, very nicely put in that, so that the value of the loan, they depreciate, The more the value of the leone depreciates, the higher the inflation. Of course, foreign exchange not enough, we'll not get reserves enough, or let we able import the goods we want. What is going to happen? The result economically will be fewer goods coming in, more money chasing fewer goods.
Fewer goods.
That leads to hyperinflation. That is what is happening. Unless the government actually takes steps for letting address the issue of this imbalance, meaning exports, imports, and the availability of foreign exchange, the inflation will continue. Unfortunately, I realize, there's a lot of professors, there's not so many smart people who will handle the economy now we country. So this trend, the way we see, it will only continue. And quickly, another issue we don't notice where they happen in our country, where they impact the economy really badly, is that government revenues keep falling. And the reason is the tax base. So just we experience that in America. So just because you increase taxes does not mean you're going to get more money. The higher the taxes, the more business is closed, and the more business is closed, the more the basis of collecting revenue they shrink, and that's what is happening now. The businesses who would get a lot of revenue, they can shrink, so the government keeps collecting less and less and less, and government thinks the only way where they can fix the deficit is by increasing taxes. And when you increase taxes, businesses leave, and you left still with a deficit, and that is what is happening.
Thank you very much, sir. We get a few more minutes, but before I go, because I want, can you go back to Usa bin promise we go end, which is something where you actually input a lot into this new constitution. But of course, I've been just one way in which you say, because I absolutely agree. You can't use short-term populist agenda, for solve a long-term issue, and you can't target a certain demography for solve an entire country in problem. It's not just going to work. Is it because social scientists them are lacking in this current government? I say social scientists them because social scientists them believe in data and research, where they inform whatever theoretical framework you come up with for constructing policy there, we're supposed to be successful, because now the data, like how you talk and so, now in go help. What is lacking in this government, that they just can't seem to get this right?
So research, you said it all, Prince. Research is not driving policy. So that's the problem. Policy should actually be a reflection of waiting the populace need at any given time. Of course, people in doing the statistical analysis, a lot of times you try to take a population sample and you do the things, whilst you do you research. But again, if the focus is only on a selected population who you select on parochial basis, you're not going to get the answer correctly. You go address an issue where affect, let's say example, only one tribe. But then how about the interests of the other tribe, if that's the way you're looking at it? So,
yes,
Boku term the way things will happen in our country, again, I would say just social scientists, economists, people were able to sit down and look at the economy and do research and give enough data and information to the government where the government go able use for letting craft apt policies. If you not get information that they use for letting craft policy, the policy then will be faulty from the get-go. And that is what is happening. Now, waiting that they try to do about the economy and the currency is just what me call band-aid economics. Because these are short-term economics. Now, band-aid they put by a very open wound. It's not going to work. We actually need antibiotics for address this issue.
Yeah. Kalokoh, let's go back again to something where obviously you already don't acknowledge publicly, say you very much weigh in, which is Chapter 6 of the new constitution yet to be adopted, discipline and grievance. I mean, it look well said and done, like there shall be a disciplinary committee, of course, the usual caveats around them. Discipline of party members at each level of party organization shall be exercised by disciplinary committee at that level, except at the national level, disciplinary committee at every other level and consists of the ordinary registered party members. Ordinary registered party members, that's something I underline in that particular class there, which is C. Members of each disciplinary committee shall be chosen by the party executive at the level. In other words, what I try for say, Kalokoh, is like it's well written, but it look a little bit complex. How much of a safeguard una put into this process where yuki no go dey inside of course you will expect compromises, but compromises where go favor the work in which una put there, because there's a reason why una come up with this. How much inhibitors them or trigger them where they in place not for compromise the integrity of something where I believe say una work so hard on, sir?
A lot, Prince. You know, one of the reasons we make I come up with this idea of doing discipline at the lowest level, now because of the experience we, fortunately, me and Apostle we don't take APC. I mean, teenage days, almost 40 years now as a core member of this party. So I kind of understand a lot of inner workings of the party. So that small knowledge they were getting, I use for say, all right, listen, this whole idea of anti-party activities, I don't like it. It's a good idea, but generally because it comes from only one person and or a small group of people, they say this person, the way they criticize when the way they talk will not like her. So they can't accuse them of anti-party activity. They would bring and come for let we discipline them, and it's only going to be a few of us where they can discipline them. When we discipline them, would they find a way for now expel them from the party? That's not the issue where I look at what Naya say. All right, and they can put in something where looks like a jury service. Like how the jury service, we the lawyer then say general principle of criminal trials, you try to put a system where somebody gets tried by some members, some of his peers, people that when are ordinary people, let them sit down and look somebody paying from the ward level, constituency, district, all the way up. But let we begin from the ward level. Somebody do something where the party no like, let the ordinary people where get the party sit down, then decide that case day, then go decide whether for suspend that person day or take action against that person. If the person not satisfied, if I go from the ward to the constituency level, if you're not satisfied, it they go up to the district. So that way they person for begin from ward level. If you see now you go all the way to national delegates conference, they expel you from the party. So God, you're a bad person. Yeah. But we become extremely difficult for people they not become dictatorial. The draconian method or a tradition of simply suspending or expelling people from the party, it not go bring people in together and a cohesion and unity now we need in the party. Now that we make that discipline issue extremely complex.
Kalokoh, many thanks. Pose me final question and then your final take, which is as you said, you don't spend over 4 decades in the party, which means that there have been times of huge sacrifices. I've been to read your profile, on the party before, 2 days ago, before we come to this interview, obviously. And we've been to try for test out with new script, and there will have been a lot about you on we ticker, this column at the bottom. Unfortunately, we've been to revert back to the old system because of some technical issues. But having said this here, we see the huge sacrifices the way you don't make. Like the party be almost redundant back in 1996, I believe, under the military rule, you and others, and you champion that cause there along with the great names, in terms of professionals, lawyer Seri Kamal, I believe then you were a young, vibrant lawyer on the study and the rest of it, but represent the party on many, many levels, including with the former UK ambassador, High Commissioner, Mr. Toure, and the rest of it. So there is a lot about you out there that people can actually look at, and instead of judge the book by the cover, there is much information on you, so they can look them up themselves. But you've said it all like 40 years, and 40 years not to pick and play. If you've been a study PhDs, you probably wouldn't get the Guinness Book of Records, because you will have had many. Here's the question, sir, going forward. Of course, you did nurse presidential ambitions, so much so that one time you and the former president have been there at loggerheads, although you were very, humble and thanking at the end, because we heard that publicly. But the idea is you did nurse presidential ambition. Going forward, sir, with all of what we know say they go on at the background, and much of your work, much of your love for your party, can we have a declaration here that you still the nurse, or are you going to be political about the answer? Do you hold presidential ambition 2023? Are you going to throw your hat into the ring, sir?
Exactly, President. And no, I don't hold back. I've been a hold back because I wait for we bring the party together, draft a new constitution, bring all these things when they happen. So, but now, Fambule, when we did now, I go make them very clear. At the contest, at the aspire for the flag bearership of the All People's Congress.
I like the emphasis, contest. I heard the T.
Yes, because I feel say I get very, very, very solid background knowledge of the All People's Congress Party. I don't spend most of me years being a member of the party. I don't work for the party, do what I'm supposed to do. I really think, say, time don't reach for let the party take over leadership of the country, so we go able to push Salone to the next level. So when I look forward to that, Kalokoh movement still in the race.
Lawyer Kalokoh, I want to say many thanks to you and many thanks to we listeners them, and we know say thousands more get for listening to them. We new production they come, and hopefully in the next program we would expect for come on Saturday, Supermed will be able for initiate that new program, the software we go to use. But at this point in time, I want to say thank you to Lawyer Kalokoh. And Lawyer Kalokoh, remember that the platform is always available, and we'll call on you when the time reach again for that you can articulate policies them as to why you think, say, the Sierra Leonean people and for choose you, because you sound very optimistic tonight.
Thank you very much, Prince, and God bless you for all the good work that they do for the country.
Thank you very much, sir. And Fambulem, this is it. We've come to the end of another beautiful, lovely conversation with none other than Lawyer Kalokoh. And we believe, say, Una enjoyed this program very much. Una can follow the program on we Facebook platform, which is Then and Now Media Empire 1. You can catch up all we live streams from there. Or you can also catch we on YouTube. Also, we get over 400 videos. So we've been talking for quite a long time. But at this point in time, I must say goodbye and good night as I leave Una with we introduction, where we go also use as an outro. Goodbye. Well, that is it. We've come to the end of this program, and this is the end. Many thanks for tuning in. Good night, everyone.